Hello everyone, this is Ahmed Moaz with another episode of the Breakthrough Coach for you. So, guys, today we are going to talk about the comparison, which is a major issue that you face while you're struggling with mental health issues. We make every type of comparison with every type of person. We make every type of comparison with every type of situation. And without me telling about it, all of us we know that how much it affects us, how much it bothers us, how much it increases our struggles when it comes to mental health, and when it comes to attaining your peace, and keeping looking after your mental health, keeping it at pace, keeping it on a line where you can move through every kind of issue, every kind of struggle, every kind of goal in your life. So, for that, we are going to talk about the psychology of comparison. What is the psychology of comparison? Why do we compare? So, basically, we need to know that comparison is a natural human tendency rooted in us for our survival. We need to understand that where is this coming from? Where is this specific characteristic of our personality, of our nature coming from? So, in the past, human compared themselves to assess threats for their well-being, for that matter, for their very life that they were living, and for their survival as well. Because in the ancient history of human beings, the human beings were living in a very different environment. They were used to live in jungles, in mountains. So they used to compare themselves with others just to make sure that they live, and just to make sure that their survival isn't affected, their survival is not in danger. And this characteristic comes from that time and has been integrated, has been inculcated in our nature now. And now, how we are exploiting this basic instinct of our very being, we are going to talk about that. So, where does this comparison comes from? If we are speaking about our mind, so this comparison stems from our brain's desire to evaluate where we stand socially. So it's coming from our brain to evaluate where we are standing socially, and how do we measure up? How do we measure up with other social factors? That includes the people who are living around you, the circumstances they are living in, the things that they're doing, the things that you're doing, making comparisons. So this is where it is coming from. Why do we make social comparison? Like, if we are even doing it unconsciously, we are seeking some benefit, or our unconscious mind, our subconscious mind is seeking some benefit from it, right? That's why it's doing it again and again. So what is the benefit that it's seeking? So we need to understand that social comparison helps us understand our place in society, but can become harmful when done excessively. So the first part is useful for us, that it makes us understand that where we are standing socially. But after that, the binge part of it, doing it excessively, that becomes really harmful for us. And we're going to speak about the ways in which it is harmful for us. But most of the people from among us, they know already that, what do we end up with while we start making comparisons. So this issue has very much to do with the modern society that we're living in today. So in the modern society, this society amplifies comparison through constant exposure to others' lives. We have a constant exposure to others' lives. Like we get out of the bed and we just take hold of our phone and we start looking at the other people's lives. Why is that necessary? How is that necessary at all? On media, social media, television, advertisements, everything is about making comparison. These companies, these platforms, these influencers, these social media posts, everybody is making a comparison, and they're just trying to sell their product and they're making you go crazy. So then we, unfortunately, the societal standards have already been built and we are living around those standards, regardless of the fact that we do not even try and find out if these standards are for us, who actually made these standards, and are these standards useful or not useful for us. So societal standards like beauty, success, and wealth are often unrealistic and create a pressure to measure up. So they are unrealistic. At the same time, they are creating a pressure to measure up. Isn't that something we're doing very bad to ourselves? Social media has a very strong role in this comparison issue. Why? Because social media showcases only the highlights of people's life. They just give you the highlights of the people's life. And what we do in return is we start comparing our daily struggles to their curated life that we are seeing on these platforms. We need to understand that what we see on these platforms on social media is someone's curated life. It's a decorated thing, and we start comparing it with our daily struggles, the things that we are very much facing, the things that are real, the things that lie in reality, and we start comparing all of that, all of our important aspects of life, to some artificial thing that somebody has decorated and posted it out for you to like, for you to share. So what we need to understand is that we need to differentiate and we need to reflect on these points. We need to reflect on these factors to make sure of the fact that we are not doing excessive comparison, the harmful one. So how does it impact us? We're going to go into the detail of the fact that how does comparison impact us. The impact of highlight reels versus real life. When what do we see on the social media all of the time? We see highlights. So that those highlights versus the real life, that creates a feeling of inadequacy. That feeling of inadequacy creates a gap in our life, and we need to understand that comparison is often linked to our need for external validation. Why do we need external validation? Why is somebody asking for external validation and even then trying to put an effort into it to make it happen? And we do one more thing. The one more dangerous thing that we do is that just to make feel good about ourselves, we compare us ourselves with other people who are probably in a bad situation, who are probably in a difficult situation, and just to compare ourselves to them and just to feel good about us, we start comparing them ourselves to them. Or if somebody is doing very good, we start taking ourselves artificially to that level, so we also start looking good. That is the comparison that is dangerous. Comparison is normal. We need to understand that is a human nature that comes from human instinct. I've explained this to you, but we need to understand that it becomes harmful when it shifts from the motivation to self doubt. As far as the comparison is motivating you for doing something good, motivating you to level up your game, to progress in life, it's good. But when it takes you to self doubt, it becomes harmful. Now what you need to do is you need to reflect on your triggers that are in place for your comparison. You need to understand what makes you, what are the reasons, what are the causes, what are the points, what are the moments that makes you compare yourself with others that which the factors that make you compare yourself with others situations and others lives. In the next episode, we will definitely provide you with the strategies to stop this unhealthy experience. This is becoming a huge unhealthy experience of our life, and we need to stop that. And for that, we are going to share, inshallah, with you the strategies, the practical tips to stop it. Till then, look after yourself. Allah Hafiz.